Broadcasting live from Jackson and State in Chicago's Loop, it's Radio DePaul Sports and Entertainment.
You're listening to RDSE, where sports and showbiz meet.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Beyond the Scoreboard, presented by RDSE. And I'm your host, Michael Lyons. And the playoffs, the NBA playoffs, just continue to get better and better and better. And I'm super, this playoffs this year have been super fun, a lot of upsets, a lot of crazy games, a lot of crazy performances. We've seen 2-game winners. The playoffs have just been amazing. And, if you haven't been tuning in so far, you're missing out, and you need to tune in for the rest because it's just going to continue to get better and better and better. Now, before we talk about the playoffs, we're going to talk a little bit about the NBA mock draft or NBA draft lottery and the NBA Combine, which is coming up this week. So the NBA draft lottery is on Monday. So we'll see whoever gets the first overall pick. Who's going to get Cooper Flag in the draft this year is the biggest talking point on Monday. And in my opinion, I'm going to doing a quick draft lottery simulator on takeathon.com, and it just landed with the San Antonio Spurs getting the first overall pick. Now, obviously, the Sacramento Kings are sitting at the 13th pick in odds, and we don't get that pick unless we're in the top 12, which is most likely not going to happen. So we're not going to have a first-round pick this year. So that is going to be... I pretty much don't have any reason to tune into the draft lottery unless the Kings just miraculously jump up to the top 4, which we have a 3.8% chance at doing, 0.8% chance at the first overall pick. Sacramento, our luck's not going to go that way. We don't really deserve that luck, in my opinion. Talking a little bit else about the Kings, we signed Doug Christie as our new head coach. This was even before last week, but I just didn't feel like really talking about it too much. But Sacramento, we keep Doug Christie for his extended contract now. He was solid with us as the interim head coach. I would have much rather us gone out and tried to get any of the bigger names that are on the market, like Mike Malone or Taylor Jenkins. Doug Christie would have still been there. So I don't like that we didn't give ourselves an opportunity to get one of the top coaches on the market, and we just kind of shored up Doug Christie early on, which we'll see how it goes. He signed Mike Woodson as an assistant head coach as well, and Bobby Jackson might be coming back to Sacramento. He was the head coach for the G League team last year, and then he was with Philly this past season as an assistant coach. So we're trying to get Bobby Jackson back, bringing some Sacramento guys back to Sacramento to be head coaching hires. But I'm not super excited about bringing Doug Christie back. He's solid. It's just he's bringing the same kind of ideas and game plans that Mike Brown was bringing, and I really wanted us to go in a different direction from that. Wanted us to try and maybe shore up on the defensive side, on the defensive end of the ball. We need to find a defensive identity, and we still have not yet to do that. So hopefully Doug Christie's kind of switches that, and we go into the offseason and we really lock up some defenders, some rim protectors, and just if Sabonis wants to go, we'll move on from Sabonis. If DeMar wants to go, we can move on from DeMar. It's gonna be a rough year in Sacramento next year. Just letting everybody know from right now. But let's just get into the NBA playoffs. So from last Friday, the last show, all the semifinal games have been set, and there have been at least 2 games in every single one of the series. And before we talk about the semifinal games, got to talk about the end of the Rockets-Warriors series, which saw the Warriors take it in Game 7 after the Rockets fought all the way back, got it to 7 after being down 3-1. Just a couple really solid games from the Rockets, and then in Game 7, Buddy Hield kind of just clicked. Jimmy Butler clicked. Stephen Curry clicked. It was just they were the more experienced team going into a Game 7 with more experienced playoff performers. In this game, Buddy Hield had 33, Stephen Curry had 22, and Jimmy Butler had 20. So combined, they had 75 points, and the Rockets had 89 in total. Solid game from Ahmed Thompson, though. He had 24 points, 9 for 16 shooting, and Alperen Şengün had 21. Jalen Green, after I told him that welcome to stardom, Jalen Green, after his Game 2 performance, it really came back to bite me in what I said, and he just was not the same after that, and he's probably going to be parts of trade talks this offseason because the Rockets are definitely going to go into the direction of win now mode. They're going to try and go get a star. Kevin Durant is on the market that they're going to be looking at. They've already been linked to him. So Jalen Green might be a part of those trades, but he also might not because he didn't perform in the playoffs. So we'll see when that comes for the offseason. And then the other series that wasn't complete was the Clippers and the Denver Nuggets. And that was a super fun series. Game 7, though, the Nuggets did take it away, a 120-101 victory. And I just want to start off by saying James Harden, Game 7, James Harden, last 2 Game 7s, he just has not shown up at all. Philly did not show up at all. This game against the Nuggets did not show up at all. And it just felt like James Harden didn't even want to be on the court, didn't even want to fight to make it into the next round. He shot 2 for 8 with 7 points. He had 13 assists, but I mean, when you're struggling to score the basketball and all the people around you are struggling to score the basketball, you're James Harden. You could turn back the clock. Now, it's not going to be easy, but you just have to kind of force yourself into taking shots. 2 for 8, that's just not going to cut it in a win-or-go-home game against a team that has championship experience, been in Game 7s before, and they have the best player on the court in Nikola Jokic. Now, it's sad to see the Clippers go. I wanted to continue to watch Kawhi Leonard because it's the first time we've got him fully healthy for a full series since the bubble and since the Raptors days. So it's sad to see that it got cut short, but I mean, at least we got to see Kawhi Leonard for a whole playoff series. And hopefully next year, Steve Ballmer has already kind of said that he wants to bring back Kawhi and James Harden. So we'll see if they can make any big moves in the offseason that could help them out. And hopefully just Kawhi Leonard's healthy again in the playoffs next year for the Clippers. And they could just get another year with some of these guys. That's all I got to say about that series. I thought the Clippers were going to take it away. I wanted them to take it away. Just wanted to keep watching Kawhi Leonard, to be honest. But now we're on to the semifinals, and we're going to start in the Western Conference because both of these series are tied at 1-1. We're going to start with the OKC Thunder versus the Denver Nuggets. And first game of this series, we saw the OKC Thunder collapse at the very end of that game. A 121-119 victory for the Denver Nuggets off of a Aaron Gordon game winner on the left wing, wide open, with I think 3 seconds left. But this comes from Mark Daigneault going for instant fouls on the inbound passes 2 times in a row. Barely a second came off both times they fouled instantly. Now, they were up by 3, So sometimes coaches, if they're up by 3 at the end of the game, they're going to foul to not give you a chance to shoot that 3 to tie the game up. But they also don't foul instantly like Mark Daigneault had the Thunder do. And it just kept if they waited 6-7 seconds for them to get it into the front court and then fouled, I mean, maybe the Aaron Gordon shot doesn't even happen. Maybe Chet Holmgren doesn't even get fouled and has to shoot those free throws that he missed. So it was bad coaching by Mark Daigneault at the end of that game. And this game, I mean, it was a huge Nikola Jokic game. 42 points, 22 rebounds, 5 offensive rebounds. Jamal Murray struggled this game. Aaron Gordon was solid. Michael Porter Jr. 1 for 8, 2 points. Christian Braun, he's been giving them some solid minutes. And Russell Westbrook, first game in OKC, and I mean, got a standing ovation, which I think he deserved. I mean, he spent pretty much his whole career. He made his name in OKC, and then they kind of just went in a different direction. They got their new star in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, so I thought that it was a class act, and I liked that they did give Russell Westbrook his flowers and gave him a standing ovation, even though they're playing against him. But I thought it was just a good move by the Thunder. Very well-run franchise, and I don't think anybody, even former players of the Thunder, really have anything bad to say about the OKC Thunder and how they're run. But back to the game, I mean, it just the fourth quarter collapse, not even the fourth quarter, just the final minute of that game collapse from Mark Daigneault coaching and the OKC Thunder. I mean, Chet Holmgren has to make those free throws, but he takes that into account for any time he has clutch free throws coming up throughout the rest of his career. He's always going to think about that moment, and he's going to grow from that moment. But then the Thunder, they came back out in Game 2, and they showed us the OKC Thunder that we've seen a lot this season. I mean, Game 2, a 149-106 victory for the Thunder. Just ran the Nuggets off the court. And, I mean, OKC just won every aspect of the game. This was just a classic Shai Gilgeous-Alexander game. 34 points on 11 for 13 from the field and 11 for 11 from the free throw line, which my biggest criticism of the Thunder so far, even though they swept the Grizzlies in the first round, was the fact that Shai really hasn't been playing at his best. They were still getting games out, but when they were going to play some of these tougher teams like the Denver Nuggets, I thought they might struggle if Shai is not really on his game. But I think this game, he kind of turned it around. Very aggressive, getting to the rim. Only shot 2 3-pointers, which I think is perfectly fine for Shai. I think he's more of a mid-range and attacking the basket kind of player, and he did that all game. 34 points, 8 assists, and just super efficient. The Thunder as a total team were just super efficient. 56% from the field, 44% from the three-point line. And then, I mean, guys, Alex Caruso had a big first game that kept them in the lead for a lot of that game. But then this game, he only had 2 points. So this is just a classic OKC Thunder game. They're just going to beat you as a total. Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins both had double-digit points off the bench, with A.J. Mitchell as well. iHeart had 14. Dort had 12. J-Dub had 17. Chet had 15. He had a double-double this game. It's the biggest thing with the Thunder and why I think they're gonna win this series is they have so many bodies to throw at both Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic to slow both of them down at least a little bit. Game 1, they slowed Jamal Murray down, and they did as well in Game 2. He only shot 9 shots and had 14 points. And then in Game 1, they couldn't slow down Nikola Jokic. You're not really ever going to completely eliminate Nikola Jokic, but in Game 2, he had 17 points in 32 minutes, but he also had 6 personal fouls, which took him out of the game early in the third quarter. So, biggest thing was the Thunder, they just have so many bodies to throw at everybody. They're very connected on the defensive end. They're like on a string in how you watch them rotate. And their guards are not scared to rotate onto any of the bigger players. I've seen Lou Dort match up against Nikola Jokic, Aaron Gordon. I've seen Dort match up with everybody on the court. I've seen Casey Wallace match up with everybody on the court. Caruso match up with everybody on the court. I just think the OKC Thunder are going to handle the Nuggets in 5 or 6 games at this point. I think first game, it took everything to go perfect down the stretch for the Nuggets to win. Missed free throws, bad coaching, a fast break, wide open three-pointer, which the Thunder don't give up wide open three-pointers, so it was just a perfect ending to the game for the Denver Nuggets, and I don't think the Thunder are going to let that happen again. And this is why I'm confident in saying that the Thunder they'll go into Denver and they're going to win Game 3. They might not win Game 4, but Game 5 and Game 6, if it goes to 6, I think they'll win in Denver. They're not going to let this series go to 7, I don't think. So at this point, I'm between 5 and 6, but I really think 43-point victory in the playoffs and a 51-point victory in the playoffs. In Game 1, they were also a little rusty. They had a lot of time to sit after sweeping the Grizzlies and the Clippers-Nuggets series going to 7. So I think it was a perfect game for Denver in Game 1, but the Thunder are back on what they were on in the first round of the playoffs. So I just think it's going to be a sweep after that. I mean, the Grizzlies caught the Thunder on a game, 2 games. I think the Nuggets will keep it close for the rest of the series, but not close enough to get in that mindset of Game 1 where everything went perfect for them down the stretch to win that game. So I think OKC will handle this series. I'm gonna pick 6 games. I think Nikola Jokic is good enough to get you a game in Denver. So I think that's what will happen. Now, back to the other Western Conference series that is also on right now is the Timberwolves versus the Warriors. Now, this series and the playoffs in general have really had me thinking a lot about conditioning and like weight training that players are going through, because we're seeing so many people get injured in the playoffs. And it's not even on like super crazy plays. And this can go for pretty much every series I've watched. I mean, like we've seen Jalen Brunson go down multiple times holding his ankle. And then we saw LeBron get injured in the final game of the Timberwolves-Lakers series on just a collision. Then we saw Curry get injured in Game 1 of the Warriors-Timberwolves series. Anthony Edwards got injured last night in the Warriors-Timberwolves series. I mean, it just, like, there's a lot of people dealing with injuries, and it has me wondering about their conditioning. And I listened to Adam Silver talking about how, like, the NBA wants to go from 82 games to, like, 62 games. And he said that there's not actual evidence that there's more injuries from the 62 to 82 games stretch to warrant him taking away those 20 or some odd games and shorten the season. And that made me think, like, is it injuries that are more likely to happen in the playoffs because there's more games, or is it because Some of these guys sit a lot of the year, conditioning, like having you play like multiple games. Like the Warriors had to go through like a 10-day stretch of playing every other day. So is that what it is? I don't really know. It's just the conditioning of the players has got me thinking a lot, and from the injury standpoint, and hopefully it's just like their freak injuries, but it could also just be like the conditioning is not up to par that it really should be. Now, the Golden State Warriors Minnesota Timberwolves series, obviously it's tied 1-1 after the Warriors took Game 1, 99-88 victory for the Golden State Warriors, and this was without Stephen Curry for most of the game. Steph went down in the first half. After 13 minutes, he had 13 points with a strained hamstring, a grade 1 strained hamstring, and he's going to be reevaluated before Game 5. So that's a blow for the Warriors, and we'll talk about a little bit more about that in Game 2. But in Game 1, the Warriors, this was a bad Timberwolves game, in my opinion. 88 points. We saw the same game in Game 2 of the Lakers Wolves series. So I'm not super. I didn't look at this game and be like, the Warriors really beat the Timberwolves. I just think the Timberwolves beat themselves in this game, which makes me very like, if the Wolves had a really bad game, Steph Curry missed most of the game and they still lost. The Warriors, obviously, you can't ever count out with Jimmy Butler and Draymond and Buddy Hield now, and Steph Curry if he comes back. But I feel good that like the Timberwolves got their one bad game out of the way early, and that they're just gonna be on their game for the rest of the series. And in this game for Minnesota, they shot 5 for 29 from the 3-point line. Anthony Edwards was like 0 for 10 in the first half. He had 1 point in the first half and 23 points in the second half. And I don't think he actually made a shot until like halfway through the third quarter. So that's going to be the worst game Anthony Edwards is going to have with probably the whole playoffs if he continues to play. So, take that as you would. Like, Mike Conley was 0 for 5 this game. Off the bench, like, Naz Reid gave them a good game. But other than that, nobody showed up for Minnesota in Game 1. And the Warriors couldn't crack 100 points. So the Timberwolves' defense is still there. And, Jimmy had 20. Buddy Hield had 24. And, team stats-wise, they shot 18 for 42 from the three-point line, so they made 13 more threes than the Wolves. And it was just a bad game for the Wolves. Like, we're not going to sugarcoat it or anything. Anthony Edwards wasn't great. The Wolves weren't great. Warriors weren't even really great. First half, they were pretty solid in the first half. Third quarter especially, they were really good, but this also wasn't an amazing game for the Warriors, so it felt like Game 1 was kind of just a wash. Like, there was nothing really to take from that game. Then in Game 2, this is the first game without Stephen Curry, and the Warriors definitely felt it. The biggest thing is you get to move Jaden McDaniels off of Stephen Curry and onto Jimmy Butler now, who has to go into these games and he has to want to score the ball. Like, a lot of the things Jimmy wanted to do and why he wanted out of Miami is he didn't want that burden of being the number one guy, the guy that has to go get a bucket whenever the Warriors are struggling and whenever their players are down. And it kind of just flipped on its head for Jimmy Butler, and he has to deal with, he's got to play 34, 35 minutes a game, and he has to go out there and he has to score the ball. And Game 2, he did not do that. 17 points on 6 for 13 shooting. He just wasn't very aggressive this game, which I thought was surprising, having Stephen Curry out. And I don't like what Steve Kerr is doing at all during these playoffs. I don't like the Hyena squad he's playing, where he's just kind of throwing guys in there and just hoping something happens. Like, this is proving this. Like, I've never really been high on Steve Kerr. I've always thought that he is really reliant on Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. This is proving it to me because at points where he's struggling, he's just throwing people in there, not even trying to, like, figure anything out. Like, he was playing 13 people in the first half of this game. Then they got blown out, and then they just decided to sit everybody. And, I mean, it was just, I don't like the way he's going about this. Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, Buddy Hield, they need to be on the court. Brandon Pozenski needs to be on the court. As much as I don't like Brandon Pozenski and how much he whines and cries to the refs about every single little thing, he might not even be in the play. He'll run from the other side of the court to talk to the ref about what just happened. It's like, just, bro, you're just being annoying at that point. Buddy Hield, I mean, he struggled this game, 15 points, but he got his shots up, which they need. Buddy Hield just needs to continue to shoot the ball. They need to treat him like he's Buddy Hield and not like he's Klay Thompson, because he's not Klay Thompson. He's never going to fill the role of Klay Thompson. I think he's been playing pretty solid defense against Anthony Edwards. And, I mean, Draymond needs to keep himself in check, and so does Stephen Curry and Jimmy Butler. They need to keep Draymond in check. I mean, I think he's one technical away from being suspended for a game and, like, 2 flagrant fouls, I think. Or I think it's 2 techs and 2 flagrants away from a suspension either way. So, Draymond cannot miss a game, especially if Curry's still out. He's the hub of their offense. He is the focal point of all of their actions. He gets everybody open. He's a really solid defender. He just needs to be on the court. And, I mean, Jonathan Kuminga has looked really good this series in the 2 games. 18 points last night, and he started off like 7 for 7 shooting, and he ended 8 for 11. So solid game from Kuminga, but Timberwolves this game, I mean, they shot 16 for 37 from the 3-point line, so they kind of just flipped the game around. They had a bad game 1, they had a really good game 2, and the Warriors kind of just stayed at the same level, which scares me because, I mean, if the Timberwolves got, like I said, if the Timberwolves got their one bad game out of the way early, I mean, this could be really rough for the Warriors to weather the storm while Curry is out. And it's making me think, like, Anthony Edwards still 6 for 13 shooting in game 2, 20 points. He isn't even playing at his best in the series yet, and that could partially be the Warriors' defense making it a little bit harder on him, but I'm going to change my prediction. I think the Timberwolves are going to win this series in 6. Originally, I had it as Warriors winning. I'm sticking with the Warriors. I'm sticking with Jimmy Butler getting one of these. They're going back to the Bay. I have faith in Jimmy Butler to give them one of these games so they could go into game 5 with a tied series, and hopefully they get Stephen Curry back. And game 5, we'll see how that goes, but game 6 could be a huge game in the series back in the Bay. And if you're up 3-2, you get Stephen Curry back, and we know how the Bay goes when Steph Curry is hot. So I'm sticking with my prediction of the Warriors are winning this series, and I think it's going to be a 6 or 7 game series again. It just all depends on game 3 or game 4 if Jimmy Butler and Buddy Hield can really get one of these games. And, I mean, we're going to take a quick commercial break before we talk about the Eastern Conference semifinals because we got a lot to unpack. The Cleveland Cavaliers are up the Pacers are up 2-0 on the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Knicks are up 2-0 on the Boston Celtics. Wait for that. We'll be right back here on RDSE. This has been Beyond the Scoreboard, and I'm your host, Michael Lyons.
Max Strus curling right side, drills a jumper. See what Strus does. He looks like he wants to shoot. I was kind of hoping he would pull up there, and one. Floater was wet. Strus is loose. Curl from three. Bang. You know it. My goodness.
Strus on the other end gets it to fall and one.
Now up top, he's got a double team. Now it's just Figueroa on him. Nice move. Quick move. Out of control.
My goodness.
Wow, he was out of control. He finished off last.
That is a new career high for Max Strus. He had 34 earlier this year. He's got 35 now.
You're listening to Radio DePaul Sports, the student voice of your DePaul Blue Demons.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Beyond the Scoreboard, presented by RDSE, and I'm your host, Michael Lyons. And like I said before we went to commercial break, we got a lot to unpack in the two series, the Eastern Conference semifinals. First up, we got the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Indiana Pacers, and the Pacers go in with 2 games in Cleveland. Now, game 1 especially, Pacers, just an amazing game all around. I mean, they shot 52% from the three-point line, 53% from the field, compared to the Cavs shooting 45% from the field and 24% from the three-point line. Pacers, just super solid game all around. Other than the turnovers, 16 turnovers it dwarfed what the Cavaliers had in 7 turnovers total, which, but it didn't really affect them because, I mean, they jumped out to a really early lead. They had a double-digit lead after the first quarter. And then after that, they kind of just stayed steady with the Cavaliers until they just kind of closed it out at the end. And they shut off the water, and they just pretty much just closed the Cavs off in the fourth quarter. And, I mean, first game was a super fun game to watch. I mean, we saw a couple super huge highlights. I mean, Donovan Mitchell had a poster, or that might have been game 2. Did Max Strus have a poster this game? I think Max Strus might have had a poster this game. I'm kind of misremembering the 2 games. I remember somebody had a poster in game 1. Maybe it was Jarrett Allen. Yeah, I think it was Jarrett Allen, and Miles Turner pushed him, and they thought that it should have been a foul. But then we also saw Benedict Mathurin go up and get a chase down block, which was huge. And I mean, Pacers, they just outplayed the Cavs in game 1. I mean, Cavs again did not have Darius Garland in this game, which I was talking to Ryan Hinsky about, and I said the Cavs need Darius Garland in the game to win, to be a contender. They need Darius Garland on the floor, and he just was not on the floor in game 1 or in game 2, but we'll talk about game 2 and the injury struggles for the Cavs that hit them. But in game 1, I mean, Donovan Mitchell and Ty Jerome combined for 50 shot attempts and only 21 makes. Most of that coming from Donovan Mitchell, who went 13 for 30, 33 points, 1 for 11 from the three-point line. So from their star, it just wasn't a really great shooting performance. He was still attacking the rim, got some guys in foul trouble for the Pacers, but I mean, the Pacers just have so many people to kind of throw at you. Thomas Bryant only played 6 minutes in this game, but he could be a guy that could play 20 minutes in a game, or he could play 4 minutes in a game, but he's still going to give you an impact. Rick Carlisle, amazing head coach, put the Pacers in a position to win in game 1, and they executed the plan, and they just shut the water off for the Cavs. But then in game 2, prior to the game, Kenny Atkinson was announced as the coach of the year, which props to Kenny Atkinson. He wasn't my pick, but I think he is well-deserving of it. And I don't think anybody should have a wrong feeling about him for winning the award, especially because the Cavs are down 0-2 now, which people are going to be like, oh, we picked Kenny Atkinson to win Coach of the Year, and he can't even win a game against the Indiana Pacers in round 2. It's a regular season award. Remember that. It's a regular season award. Now, Pacers in Game 2, they struggled early. Cavs were on it for the first 3 quarters, but then Pacers stormed back in the fourth. But prior to the game, we received the announcement that Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and DeAndre Hunter were all going to be out this game. Now, I thought it was very interesting that all 3 of those guys are out. I mean, I didn't even remember Evan Mobley getting injured in Game 1. Maybe he just played through it a lot. Maybe it happened at a time, like in practice on the game before. I don't know. I don't remember Evan Mobley getting injured. I remember DeAndre Hunter getting injured, but come on, a thumb. Darius Garland, a toe. You've been dealing with this toe injury all year. But when you're playing, you're great, but then your toe still hurts. Like, you just need Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, DeAndre Hunter. You need to play through your injuries. This is what happens in the playoffs. Unless you physically can't go and you can't give them anything while you're on the court because of your injury, you should be on the court. Steph Curry, his injury looked bad. Like, it didn't look bad. Like, he could probably play through it. He's also a lot older than all 3 of these guys. And, I mean, he looked visibly frustrated and sad that he got injured. So, that, and he's fully, like, he thrives so much on off-ball movement that having a strained hamstring is going to, like, it's going to slow him down, and it's going to make it easier to game plan against. Darius Garland, this toe, like, you've looked good in the games I've watched that you play, and I know you've been dealing with this injury for a long time. You need to be on the court. DeAndre Hunter, a thumb, come on. Wrap that thumb up. Sprained thumb, wrap that thumb up and get on the court. Evan Mobley, sprained ankle, I mean, I can see you sitting out, but I didn't see you get injured in Game 1, and I saw you play a lot. So, I'm a little confused how you could play, like, I thought it was just bad. Like, Kenny Atkinson just needs to be like, guys, we're in the playoffs. We already lost Game 1. And we have, like, the Pacers are not a slouch team. We cannot take them, like, as they're the Miami Heat, pretty much. We can't take them as that. We have to take them as the team that beat the Milwaukee Bucks in round 1. They beat us in Game 1. We need to be on the court. Like, Kenny Atkinson just needs to take that and be assertive with his players that you guys need to be on the court. This is also a case of me talking about conditioning and how injuries are handled. Like, there's so many people getting injured in the playoffs, and I'm just confused where it's coming from. Are there just the plays? I mean, Steph Curry was playing through a thumb injury, so I'm a little confused why DeAndre Hunter can't play through a thumb injury. So I think at least one of those guys need to be on the court, and I could see sitting the guys that are dealing with lower leg injuries, a toe and an ankle, but DeAndre Hunter really needed to be in the court. And then, I mean, fourth quarter collapse. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton scored 8 points with like 30 seconds left. He did it against he did it against the Bucks. He did it against the Pacers, or against the Cavs now. So, Pacers going back to Indiana. This is gonna be a really tough series for the Cavs to draw back, and they're gonna have to win both games in Indiana, because the Pacers, if they get up 3-1, they're not a team that's gonna let you crawl back in this series, even if you get healthy. So I was team Cavs before the series, but I'm flopping. I'm picking the Pacers in 5 games, to be honest. I think Game 3 will go Cleveland's way, but Game 4 will go Pacers' way because they're in Indiana. They're not going to lose both games in Indiana. They're not going to let you tie this series back up. So I truly don't see the Cavs having any chance at winning this series at this point. So I think Pacers they're heading back to the Eastern Conference Finals again. And then the Cavs got to go back to the drawing board, and they got to figure out, like, injury-wise, you guys need to be on the court, which is just my biggest thing. I didn't like that they sat all those guys. And I think they deserve to lose Game 2 having all three of those guys out. Man, Donovan Mitchell had an amazing game, 48 points. But it was like a quiet 48 points, in my opinion. I realized that he was, like, killing it. Like, I realized he was putting numbers on the board, but I looked back up, like, I looked up and I saw that he had 48, and I was like, dang. Doesn't seem like he has 48. But then I look around and I'm like, he's the only person pretty much doing anything. Max Strus had a solid game, 23 points. Jaren Allen had 22, but other than that, I mean, Sam Merrill was hitting his threes in the first half, but then went quiet in the second half. It's going to be a really tough series for the Cavs to pull back. And then we're going to talk about an even tougher series to pull back. And the final series that we're going to talk about today is the New York Knicks are up 2-0 on the Boston Celtics. In Boston, they won both of these games. I mean, Knicks, they've done a very good job at weathering the storm through the first three quarters, keeping it within reach going into the fourth, and then their defense just turns up in the fourth. Mikal Bridges in Game 1 was just amazing on the defensive end throughout the fourth quarter, locking people up, and he was telling them about it. He had a dunk on Drew Holiday. OG Anunoby had a huge dunk in this series. And, I mean, New York has just looked like the better team. Or Boston has looked like the better team for the first three quarters. But then it just switches to the Knicks kill it in the fourth quarter. And the third quarter a little bit in Game 1. Biggest talking point from Game 1 was, I mean, Celtics shot 15 for 60 from the three-point line. They live or die by the three-point line. That's been Joe Mazzulla's whole kind of tenure in Boston, is they live or die by the three-point line. And in this game, they definitely died from it. And we saw that. I mean, also it was just fourth quarter, they didn't have anybody clutch, really. Tatum, I thought, would have stepped up in the fourth quarter, but he did not. Kristaps did miss a lot of this game. He went back to the locker room with his illness he's still dealing with, saying that his conditioning is still not good enough to be on the court. And then, I mean, for the Knicks, biggest takeaway, you got to be better through the first two and a half quarters. And then that's the biggest thing with this series, I think, is I still think I'm going to pick the Celtics because the first two games, 10 for 40 in the second game from the three-point line. So they're shooting 25% in the whole series from the three-point line on 100 shots. So they have 25 made threes to 100 three-point shot attempts. So I don't think it doesn't get any worse than that, and it's only going to go up from there. They lost Game 1 in OT, and then they lost Game 2 by 1 point. So I'm still picking Boston. It's going to be a tough series. This is how I picture the series going, as being really close down the stretch. But I pictured it being Boston that was going to take the games, even though they're close in the end. I pictured it flip-flopped. I thought Boston was going to win the games if they're close in the fourth quarter, but it's been the opposite. And I think Game 3 is going to be very telling tomorrow. I think it's going to be very telling because if Boston has another fourth quarter collapse in Game 3, even if they win that game, I'm feeling more confident that the Knicks are going to take the series because 3 straight games where you have a fourth quarter collapse, that just can't happen. And I think the Knicks, they're going to, I think it's more just a Knicks kind of what they're doing than anything. But I think Game 3 and Game 4, Boston's going to go into MSG, and they're going to shoot the lights out, I think, hopefully. And I just think that they'll run away with Game 3 and Game 4, bring it back to Boston, take the lead again, and then maybe this series will go to 7. But I think Boston they're never going to shoot worse from the three-point line than they did in Game 1 and Game 2. So that's why I'm picking them to win this series, even though they are down 2-0. But, I mean, it's going to be another, all these series have been super fun to watch so far, and they're going to continue to be fun to watch. I mean, we've had a couple stinker games, like Game 2 of the Thunder Nuggets series was a bad game. Game 2 of the Timberwolves Warriors series was kind of bad too because they sat their guys in the fourth quarter. But Eastern Conference, both of those series have been super fun to watch, so keep your eyes on them. Let's just look at the schedule before we leave for the day. Not much to really talk about, honestly. Tonight we have Cleveland in Indiana and then OKC in Denver. And both of these games should be fun to watch. Maybe another big Nikola Jokic game. But that's pretty much all I have for today. Not a lot. And I hope you guys enjoy listening to Beyond the Scoreboard. It's been presented by RDSE, and I'm your host, Michael Lyons.